ready.
Not even,
This guy is ready to
Look
throw
at
it
that
out.
smile.
Yeah. Shows how cold-blooded he is.
Cold-blooded fragger right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he again using his wallet as his cord bungee?
It's the best, you know?
He's become known
tried
for
and proven.
The more he wins, the fatter his wallet gets, and the better it
Yeah,
serves
better
as a
weight.
bungee. Yeah.
Does he have a personalized artisan pad as well? That is too cool. Just a little bit of jealousy there.
Yeah,
a little bit of envy.
We don't have the clout to get that personalized stuff.
No, we don't. But we do get to see Cypher pop out on stage now. Let's see what he's going to be bringing us.
Look at this guy.
Hey,
One of the most talented players, man, out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he always walks out like, let's
no big
play
deal.
some games.
Yeah, ready to
Let's
play.
play some Quake, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, that'd be nice.
No big deal.
Yeah, doesn't even look at the camera. He's here for business.
Yeah, he's ready to. I like that. So it's good to have that attitude. You see, he's very focused. He knows he's in against a tough opponent right now. As we mentioned.
Well, he
Rapha's
does now. You just blurted it out. Yeah.
Well,
Good job.
Rapha's had a lot of good finishes recently. Twos, duel, everything. He's been very consistent. So, yeah, stay focused and see what you can do. Because I think Cypher, as you mentioned, with the way he said finally, it's like I think he has a little something in his mind that he wants to prove. He's like, you know what, I might make a statement right now.
You think? It's brass tacks time. You know that, right? It's time to come down one way or the other, Machiavelli.
I could never... I'm sorry, this one I'm saying I'm completely biased. I could never pick against Rapha, in my opinion. So I'm picking Rapha.
I'm going to follow my heart. Like I said, Cypher, Cypher, Cypher. I really hope that he can make something happen here. I think it would be an amazing upset moving into tomorrow. So, yeah, he's my pick.
I don't hold it against you at all. I think we're in for an electrifying match, but I'm going to also go with Rapha.
I think it's going to be... I think we go to 3 maps, so I do. I think this is going to be really tight. And we'll see. I don't think it's going to be clear-cut no matter what happens.
Well,
yeah, probably not.
we have a 2-to-1 ratio up here. Is that the way Twitch chat is going to go as well? I think it's going to come down to like who's awake here.
50-50.
Ooh, that's close. That's cool. All right.
54 to 46.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was 50-50. Like
dead in the middle.
Just red in the middle. So.
I mean, I think probably what's tipping over some people is just recent victories, the recent history for Rapha.
Yeah.
I mean, PGL was a great success. You know, his performance at the last DreamHack, QuakeCon, of course, all really, really good stuff for Team Liquid in general. And right now they are, you know, for better or worse, the team to beat.
It's the nature of sports. What have you done for me lately? It's, you know, I don't care what you did 2 years ago. What have you done for me lately? Have you won or not? That's it. So usually people who've won recently, yeah, you got to go with them as the favorites.
Well, to help answer those questions, we've got Ketchup and 40 Lions at the caster desk, ready to take us into map 1. Take it away, guys.
Cheers, guys. And to be honest, it's crazy to me, Lions, that we are even in this position, that Rapha losing to Cypher would, by results alone, be considered an upset in any Quake game. Like, I know that the people at home are splitting for good reason. You know, Cypher and Rapha, it really doesn't get more legendary than that when it comes to talented Quake players. But when it comes to Quake champions, one player is significantly better in tournament than the other. Cypher needs this win. Like, so many tournament results have not gone his way, but we all know just how talented he is. He needs this win 100%.
Yeah, actually there was a Twitter post recently where he was talking about people in public games kind of giving him, you know, some crap about his tournament results, and he's probably going to use that to fuel all of this. Yeah, exactly. Well, first of all,
I gotta say outright, right? If you're the kind of player at home that will dump on Cypher because he's not playing to your standards, why aren't you in that tournament? Yeah. Why aren't you in the bracket? Shh, silence.
How dare they?
Silence. But it's going to be Galena first. Veil of Nath excites many of us, especially when it's Rapha picking this map. He sort of, at the Italian Esports Open, really pioneered this pick and pretty much collected heads on every opponent that he picked this map against.
I'm curious to see if Rapha's going to pick Clutch. He's played him a little bit.
Death Knight.
It could be a thing. Is it Cypher with that David Bowie Galena? Let's see what his second pick is. I'm ashamed that neither player has the beat Galena. That actually hurts me.
I mean...
I'm offended. I'll talk to him later. It's fine.
Every Galena picked the same one. Now, there is the clutch pick from Cypher. Cypher historically really dislikes fighting against this champion, so it kind of makes sense that he kind of learns the champion himself to force what he dislikes onto his opponent. And normally, we used to, before the patch, we would see almost a keel pick 100% from Rapha on Veil, because his keel has been utterly out of this world for a very long time, especially on these small maps. And the Death Knight pick makes a lot of sense. Being able to spring those traps effectively, do a lot of burst damage. On the Veil of Nath, where you're going to be springing those traps all the time, it's a very common strategy. And dare I say, no one plays this map better than Rapha, which is why he picked it himself. It's going to be a clash of absolute legends here. The Veil of Nath, it's Rapha, it's Cypher. Let's get started.
Rapha getting that early heavy as Cypher gets the Mega, drops down into a lot of nail damage. The LG, not so bad. So he'll get bullied off the rockets. A little bit of rocket damage on the exit here, and he's going to have to wait until he gets his own set explosives, but he is going to get those time shards and try and set up that totem economy infrastructure here. The push from Rapha, he does have him cornered. Just spamming a little bit, trying to delete that totem, and he's going to push in. Here's the shaft battle. The swap to rail is actually going to cost him his life as Rapha takes him down.
And even if Rapha got hit by that rail, I don't really have a lot of confidence that Cypher would have survived anyway, especially seeing the guaranteed damage he would have taken. Here comes the clutch though, so Cypher going in full speed ahead. The question is going to be, what weapons did he select? And yeah, instantly down in there to the 100 damage. Shield, not what it used to be, down for a significantly longer amount of time in between shots now. Can't just kind of use it willy-nilly like you could before.
Yeah, I think Cypher's the one who's lucky to survive that exchange now, and with the shield down, he's got to be very, very careful here as Rapha knows that he can play a little more aggressive, peppering upstairs with that tri-bolt now and making his way towards the Mega. Great rail. Mega's going to be up soon, but Cypher's going to get bullied off as the rocket jump comes in, and Rapha secures the Mega as well, looking very strong.
Now, this is the side of Clutch that I think a lot of players dislike when using him, is that he's got this big chunky hitbox. He's the easiest champion in the game to hit by far. The super shotgun versus Clutch is especially useful because the chance of him getting hit by the spread much greater because he's a chunky boy. And when you're far behind, you just can't outrun. There was no way Cypher could escape that encounter. There's no way Rapha was missing those rails.
Yep, can't run away. Rapha will find him, and he'll find him again early with the LG. Cypher will have the Mega to his back, and that'll save his life, and could get the frag, and he does turn it around and takes down Rapha's Galena.
It's a hard effort right there. However, now Rapha's going in with the Death Knight, which is going to mix things up some for sure. That Flame Strike at close range. It's been adjusted almost every single patch, but it never stops becoming useful at close range. Cypher in a very kind of precarious position. He kind of needs those hourglasses, and unfortunately not collecting what he needs to, so it's going to waste a little bit of time. Time he can't really spend dialing back and picking them up. He's got to get back in position. And there's that Dire Orb. Very important to make sure he had that excellent rail. And Machiavelli was talking about how even though we have the X-ray, it's like they have it too. How about that? Cypher with an excellent rail there.
Yeah, that was phenomenal there. Off the jump pad, get a little bit of LG damage. Rapha turns it around though, and wow, what a great frag from Rapha there to take that first round. The shaft's so strong.
Now, if this map goes into a 3-0, I gotta say, I wouldn't be surprised. Not to discredit Cypher in any way, it's just Rapha has displayed a constant, like really a higher level of understanding on this map than almost anyone in the game. Like, there's a reason he picks it almost every time, especially at the Italian Esports Open. Yeah, he had almost 100% success rate.
I will never forget, I had a conversation with Dehang when Dehang and Rapha were playing against each other at PGL, and Dehang said, I'm going to pick Veil because I don't think Rapha's that comfortable on it. And then during the picks, Rapha picked it and then beat him on it, and ever since, I've just seen Rapha excel so much at this map.
It's almost like he kept everything close to his chest, and that was some fantastic tri-bolt. Like 30, 40, 30.
Wow, that rocket, though, pushing Cypher back. We got a back away, not today, Disco Lady, a little bit of LG tickle. He's going to go in for that 50 and that 25 and escape with his life. Doubles back. Still no rockets here. That great float LG there. Is he going to push? Almost thought about it.
He's not going to get that post-patch reward, though. Can't kind of keep him juggled in the air, though. He's going to get a little bit of damage to help him along the way. Hasn't seemed to deter Rapha, though. Even after that, it looks to me like Cypher's actually wants a little bit more on the back foot. Has got a totem available. That said, Rapha just about to have his ready, too. And I think there's a strong reason we see Galena picked first on this map. You kind of want to be able to shut down those teleporters instantly. You want that obstacle. Cypher running out of rockets is really unfortunate. There's no way you can push because of that.
Luckily does have a clear path to rockets. Doesn't take it though. He wants the Mega first. Still not getting the rockets. That could prove to be a problem.
One of the unique strengths you kind of need to have on Veil is how to deal with an opponent that has a massive stack and kind of runs control on the top of the map. You kind of need to be really good at kind of whittling their health down without them being able to just run in and rush you, kind of like what Cypher's doing right now. However, the defensive LG was fantastic, does not manage to get the heavy in time. He's going to waste a little bit of extra time. Not going to be too disappointed about it so far as he's maintaining control of the top of this map, which is why Cypher can continue to take the heavy. He can take the mega. He can just maintain that constantly.
Yeah, and again, so easy to maintain top control with that Galena. You can set up your totem infrastructure on the jump pad and the telly, and pretty much just lay claim to whatever you want, as we see right there, Rapha going through, eating that damage early. Cypher has the data now as he makes his way towards the rockets. Not quite there for Rapha. He's going to get bounced around. Cypher not going to push. He does give up the heavy. A bit of a misplay there. Rapha comes back for the mega. Here comes the shaft battle. The rocket's fantastic, and what a bounce from Cypher. The rocket into totem combo. Unfortunate for Rapha. That was a great shot by Cypher.
Really is a game of who can set up shop first when you have two Galenas at the start of this map, and in this case, actually, it was Cypher open for business. Rapha now with his Ranger pick, and I wonder if we're actually going to see a mirror of almost like a flip side of what the first round, how it turned around. Cypher now, bit of a difficult position. Dire Orb just kind of bully him away from heavy. Cypher definitely needing some armor, which he's been able to pick up just a little bit, but Rapha's stack is kind of uncontestable at this stage.
Yeah, got a good stack. Cypher's going to get that 50. Rails exchanged but missed from both players here. Cypher with that L, a natural stack at 100-100. Does have the champ advantage. About minute 50 left in the round here. Rapha tries to make his way up the jump pad. LG comes out over in this middle area. The jump over from Cypher. Oh, Rapha almost, there it is, the teleporter dance. And Rapha will get the rocket as Cypher goes through. Still not looking that healthy, but the rocket jump up to Mega will prove to be lucrative here. And he catches out Cypher. Dire Orb comes out as a distraction, but now he doesn't have that to save him, and the LG takes him down. Quick turnaround here, but can he handle the clutch off the spawn?
Yeah, I think realistically, Rapha didn't really have anything to worry about. He knows that Cypher's just spawned. He knows he's only really likely to have an LG to fight with. So he could pretty much bully him as much as he wanted. It was a perfect read on the orb as well. Cypher not teleporting to it because it was a risk not worth taking. So Rapha just kind of sitting there as if there was no orb in the first place. Heavy's going to get taken. Cypher pressing full advantage. You kind of have to do that sometimes as clutch. Just be a bully. Absolutely, but there we go. Close range rocket fight. Doesn't matter if Clutch is a big boy, he's going to win that easily. But now Death Knight versus Clutch, this is where things get a little bit interesting, because the shield is only going to serve so much of a purpose. If it's close range and he waits for a shot, in between that downtime, that's when the Flame Strike and a combo of a rocket can come through and just melt him away. When does Cypher pull the trigger? That's what I'm wondering. Oh, perfect catch. No damage done. Cypher without a shield now, though, might be a sitting duck.
Yeah, 53 HP, very weak there. I'm surprised no one got a telefrag with that little dance. 100 HP, no armor for Cypher, as we're getting closer and closer to sudden death here. 20 seconds left in the round.
Yeah, Clutch with no armor really is a pussycat, especially when the opponent's got a rail. That's like the #1 goal is to re-armor any way you can. That's why Cypher kind of sat there near the light.
Oh my god, that was terrifying.
Why did that make us so nervous? Oh my god.
I don't know, but the shields pop. Cypher's going to get out, use it defensively. He's trying to make his way back to the heavy. Rapha on the middle ground will eat a rail, eat another one. Ooh. Wow, like 3 quick rails from Cypher and the heavy. Just to add insult to injury as Rapha was trying to make his way on there, and you could see the frustration. He's like, I can't believe that just happened.
You could see that in Rapha's. I'm pretty sure he just said to himself, wow.
Yeah.
That was very much like the boldness to just go, not even try and dodge, just a straight line, a complete straight line, and land all 3 rails in a row. And again, if he missed any one of those rails, Rapha probably would have killed him. So that's why Cypher is always, even if he hasn't got the tournament results and champions, he's always rated so highly because he has just the stuff you need at the highest level of play.
Yeah, and that's the stuff Rapha needed there as he chases with the LG through the rocket room and gets the frag and the mega. Now he might be able to trap over at LG. Cypher wisely taking his time and not pushing too aggressively here on this. And there it is. Rapha can read it. He's like, I know what you want, and you're not going to get it. The Dire Orb comes up short. The rail is fantastic from Cypher. So not a complete loss, but unfortunately does not get that heavy with that Dire Orb.
It's kind of strange. It looks to me like quite a few times here, Cypher has unfortunately missed a jump or two towards the heavy. It seems to be a jump that he's having a really hard time with.
But hitting these rails, and that's keeping him in the game, keeping Rapha low, not giving him these free items, and that's very important here as Rapha's getting closer to setting up 3-2 totems, which will give him that overstack here. Trying to figure out where Cypher's hiding.
Now there's the heavy. Significant gap in between those two items. So if Rapha continues to kind of, run the circuit of the Veil, then maybe he's going to have control the entire time. Cypher losing that Galena first is pretty problematic. It always is a tale of who can establish control first when it comes to two Galenas on this map. And you can see the difficulties Cypher's now having because he lost the first champion. So
Yes.
it's one of those obvious cases of, I lose a champion, oh, well, that's obvious. And this map, it feels a little bit different.
Yeah, it's even harder to get back into control. That defensive rocket was phenomenal, keeping Rapha out. There could have been curtains there. But still, Rapha maintaining strict control on these items here. Cypher goes up the jump pad, a little bit of rocket damage. Is Rapha going to chase here? A little bit of LG from the top, raining down rockets. Cypher trying to keep him out until this Mega's up. There's the jump across. The LG is good to push him off. Can he finish him off? No, Cypher will get the Mega. The shaft battle comes out. Rapha looking very weak now, and that follow-up rail's phenomenal from Cypher.
That was an excellent fight. Absolutely superb fight. And it was also the patience from Cypher to wait until Rapha was gone. Oh, no.
Pardon me while I burst into flames as Cypher goes down. Rapha with that Death Knight will get the heavy and make his way over. Is he going to trap at LG? As Cypher has to be careful with this clutch. He does have the shield and eats one shotgun blast to the face, and now he's stuck in rockets. Do a little dance, make a little love. Is the mining drill going to be enough? One more shotgun blast. And there it is. Cypher tries to go all in and says, you know what, I don't really have a choice here. And Rapha goes up 2-1.
Such an impressive fight, even before. Because before you can even start thinking about why that choice with Cypher's Ranger to kind of go up and wait for Rapha to be gone before he kind of went out behind, to kind of get control back up top, you don't even have time to talk about it because Death Knight has already spawned, Flame Strike has already been used, he's already been deleted. Like that is one of the many reasons why Death Knight was picked by Rapha. That instant refrag ability, no matter what the cost, and the Super Shotgun versus Clutch is such an amazing combination. His big hitbox just gives him a much higher chance of having max damage dealt from the Super Shotgun.
Yeah, absolutely melting through that Honda Civic here as Rapha patiently waiting, knows that Cypher needs some rockets. He's got the position to cover both rockets and LG. Cypher doing a good job of staying away, saying, I know that you're probably down there. I'm not going to take some free damage. I'm not going to give you this free frag. He is going to give away the heavy, but not for free, as the rail is fantastic. A little bit of LG from Rapha. Another fantastic rail from Cypher. Is he going to hit another one? Ooh, goes through the TP just before the bullet went off, it looked like.
And Rapha knows it's suicide going through a teleporter. There is no galaxy out there where there is not a totem by that teleporter. So Rapha has to kind of think of alternatives. You know, he had to use the teleporter knowing he was going to take damage, right? Like that is the currency he spends to use the teleporter and get rid of the totem.
Yep, he's like, I'm going to face check this, and I'm going to get this heavy. Lots of nail gun damage coming out, and Rapha is very weak right now. 2 seconds until the Mega, and it looks like he might have to concede this, trying to get some tri-bolt damage. The jump over rail, phenomenal from Cypher, crippling Rapha and forcing him into this 50 room, and he might get caught out here.
The defensive tri-bolt is still going to be real. Cypher's got to be careful. Like, one magical rail is going to, deal with that champion, but you don't want to be too aggressive. One good burst of tri-bolt is a lot more damage than anyone wants to take.
Doing a good job of deleting those totems, making his way to heavy. The LG is going to be too strong. He needs to back away. 12 HP here. Not a lot to work with on the bottom of the map either. Mega will be up soon, but he's going to have to concede. The rail will miss from Cypher, trying to peek through that rocket room. Rapha staying alive, and he goes for the bubble that Jahar always says is death, and it proves to be the correct theory again.
Yeah,
Cypher gets it.
We could see there in the player cam, there was even a nod of approval there from Rapha, just kind of going, yeah, got to hold that. Like, if he's going to die and he's going to need to go near health, it's like a risk he had to take. Almost just hope Cypher misses the shot. Like, even shots like that, where it can happen, and no one is completely immaculate with their accuracy. And unfortunately, sometimes you just got to make that call. Rapha now with the Death Knight again, getting rid of the totems and establishing dominance, but unfortunately no damage on the Flame Strike, but a fantastic rail.
That was perfect. Needed that, bailed him out, and he will get the Mega and could trap right here at Rockets. Not committing fully, just doing good initial damage here.
Such an interesting turnaround, and it does keep coming down to whenever Rapha has the Death Knight, even when the Flame Strike doesn't hit its mark, it's the fact that there's so much area denial there.
Speaking of denial, look at that immediate rail from Rapha as Cypher gets the heavy, and it's gone.
It's the fact that really there's so many different ways the Flame Strike can go. There's like this entire like imaginary cone that you kind of have to have in your brain and go, I can't really sit there because if he uses it, I'm dead.
Yeah. Run through the fire and flames here as 2 minutes left. Rapha's going to use the trampoline. Needs to be careful here. Takes a little bit of rocket damage. There's the flames again, and it connects, and it ticks away into the LG, just bouncing him around, making him float and taking the frag.
That was super clean. That was fantastically clean. It was just the fact that the damage over time as well, giving Rapha even more information as if he needed any more.
Yeah, just making Cypher feel like an outcast there. So fresh and so clean. And Rapha one champ away from taking this first map here. Got the champ advantage, 1 minute 20 left. Rapha's gonna be more than happy to play passive here as he's gonna get these time shards back and get that flame strike back up as soon as possible. Good rail there on the heavy.
The more damage he does now, the less work he's going to have to do when that shield inevitably gets popped, of which Cypher is going to go full guns blazing, but he's pretty weak. Even after this Mega, it's going to be kind of interesting, I think. You know, Rapha's going to be able to sort of restack up just a little bit. Yes, he hasn't got a flame strike, but he's had such a wonderful job of working around the clutch so far that it feels like clutch has made almost no impact.
Yeah, he's kind of figured it out. He's like, you're going to pop your shield, and I'm going to wait, and I'm going to blast you with a shotgun, and you're going to be absolutely destroyed here. As he opts not to get the last 2 time shards to get that flame strike back up. It will be up momentarily. Thought Cypher was going to chase up that jump pad. Surely that would have been suicide here. As again, Rapha raining down rockets. He's going to jump over to the Mega, secures it. LG comes out. Cypher has no choice but to fight. The fadeaway will barely miss, and he goes through and finishes it off anyway. And says, I don't need to time this out. Rapha will take the first map 3-1.
No flame strike necessary in that final fight. Completely confident in his rail. That was the weapon for the job. And it kind of goes back to the classic tale where clutch can get the job done, but unfortunately, if he's not got a shield, then he's just going to be a sitting duck. Some of the best players in the world are not going to miss their rails against him. But Cypher put up a good fight on Veil, but I think it was the expected result that Rapha was going to take that.
Yeah, not the worst showing from Cypher. I mean, Rapha, like you mentioned earlier, he's just kind of a guru on this map now, playing it a lot, knows the ins and outs, knows when to attack, and just 3-1 looks glorious on him.
The question's going to be how we work around on the future maps, because I know that the sort of predictions on the desk kind of came through that even though we are on these small maps, you know, we have Awoken up next, which is something I'm particularly excited for, actually, because, you know, Rapha has said many, many times that Awoken is actually his favorite map, and Cypher plays phenomenally well on there too. But even though they're a similar size, there's different strategy. Right?
Oh, yeah.
There are so many unique angles.
Yeah, played very, very differently here. I'm looking forward to seeing if Cypher's going to lock in a clutch again, maybe give it another whirl, but I don't know. We saw that it wasn't very very effective. I could speak English, I swear. It hasn't been a long day. It hasn't totally been a long day.
I understand.
But I look forward to what champ picks come out from Cypher here and if he's going to try that clutch one more time.
It's a scary position to be in, even at this level where you kind of have to assume that the champions you're picking are going to be the right ones, especially when this map is essentially the decider between Cypher evening things out and losing to Rapha, and just adding to another tally of world-class players that Rapha has been able to kind of collect the scalps of.
Yeah. Look at that focus, full focus from both players here. As everything is on the line for Cypher here. We're going to get into the champ picks. Let's see what they have up their sleeve.
So, of all the champion picks, I think today that I find interesting, honestly, between these two players, this is the one that intrigues me the most. So it's Glaner and Ranger. Makes a lot of sense. Ranger still very, very effective, even though his orb was adjusted pretty significantly. But it's going to be a Visor from Rapha. Rapha very specifically claiming that Visor is, he always has believed, is his strongest champion.
Yeah, he gets so much out of that wall hack. It's absolutely incredible here. And a BJ from Cypher. Again, a little bit of a nerf. You have to kind of preemptively pop his dual wield now, but I think we're going to see Cypher try and use that for the refrag off spawn.
For sure. And of all the maps, I think you're likely to get that, Awoken is a very big point. You know, that the fact that you can spawn and be dangerously close to your opponent almost at any time because of just how small the map is, going in with BJ is a good choice, because even on the spawn, a starting weapon dual wielded does a ridiculous amount of damage that most people can't actually defend against. So we'll see if it's going to work out. Cypher currently on the back foot. It's Rapha one map ahead as we load into Awoken, map number 2 of Dreamhack Winter, Rapha versus Cypher.
Very excited for this one here as Rapha's looking to close this out, and he's going to get that banana spawn, head straight to the 50, and the LG orbs up.
That's such a good start.
Yeah,
such a good start for Ranger.
Unfortunately for Cypher, he'll miss that opening rail. That could have been very, very useful here, as now they play the waiting game around the corner. A little bit of tri-bolt damage there. Cypher's still going to advance on this here, and the tri barely missing out.
Very confident in the damage that he's taken, but Gotta be very, very careful now as, you know, BJ kind of needs those 2 LGs to be dangerous, which is one of the reasons I think Rapha is kind of guarding it very, very carefully. But now the teleport's been used, gets one of those rails just to be a little bit rude and say, I see you. You're gonna get away from me.
There's a dunk rocket from Rapha here. He's gonna get back on the Mega and he could chase this heavy now. And oh, the trap, the LG, the Dire Warp, a little bit of splash damage. Cypher trying to crouch and just wait it out, but ooh, that return rail is actually fantastic. Putting Rapha at 10 HP, he does have 225s to work with. Need to be very careful here around the corner. Does a good job of quickly restacking here.
I think actually both players did a phenomenal job of getting back up to a really sort of healthy state there. Cypher using it as an opportunity to disengage as well. Rapha pretty low on rockets though. Going in with the LG, and that was just near flawless.
So strong, doesn't even take a lot of damage now. His stack is gonna be phenomenal. Rocket jumps over and he's got full control after that frag.
Rewarded by a dead man's rocket launcher, so it doesn't even need to have to detour to get ammo. And now this is immediately can be slowed down. Rapha trying to pick his trap, and there's a reason Cypher's trying to make no noise whatsoever.
But look at this read. As we were saying earlier, look at that 100 damage dunk. Misses the rail. Can he finish this here? He's going to chase through. He doesn't really have a reason not to, except for that. The Dire Warp comes out, but Cypher pushes him out of the club and says, get out of my house.
You can really sort of see what Rapha is thinking by his body language. Like he's such a facially expressive player after every single frag. Like even the eye roll when he got caught in the LG through the teleport, almost like he knew it was very likely, but when it happened, it was still like yeah, okay.
Like fine.
I'll give you that one. But now here comes the visor change, which is always interesting. You know, Rapha trying to spring some of these traps in the previous champions just then, where he's having to go by his, you know, general game senses. Visor it was always the extended arm of that playstyle, isn't he?
That was such a phenomenal flick rail there.
Very dangerous, actually, with Rapha. I'm curious to see if he has a rail. I'm sure we'll find out momentarily, but...
Doesn't quite have a rail here, but does have the jump on Cypher. And look at that. He's like, I could do it too, okay? It was rude. I'm going to do it to you to prove to you that it hurts feelings.
Cypher can't even be mad about that.
Rapha will finally get in on a rail as well, so now he has all the items he needs to fight at various distances. Rocket jumps over, deletes that totem, misses with that initial rail. Does get the heavy. And again, champ lead, 2 minutes left. Rapha looking very strong. Look at that stack. Fat stacks like a rapper.
It's dangerous indeed, because as well now 10 seconds away he's gonna have the piercing sight. Now, depending on how long this fight takes, if Cypher is weak and is forced to retreat, there's no way he's actually gonna be able to run away, because Rapha's gonna chase him down, he's gonna piercing sight. And especially now, he can get that sort of return rail or rocket if he wants to. There's a reason Cypher doesn't want to push too hard, I think. Trying to really bait him towards heavy, but Rapha has that foresight. Thank you very much, piercing sight. He should be able to get in and out. Minimal damage taken.
Just gonna get right back into it. A little bit of rocket damage. Some more tribal to keep Cypher out. And Cypher's got to be so frustrated with that. He's like, I just want to get around the corner here. So Rapha looking for that rail. He's gonna not get the opportunity there. A little bit of a pre-fire rail, but Mega will go to Rapha. A minute left here, and the pressure is mounting on Cypher to make this comeback.
And in 12 seconds time, if we see another piercing sight, it's going to depend entirely on how this fight goes, but Rapha going in for the heavy, it was with Cypher only just getting some small armor, it was a fight he basically couldn't take, especially now he's weak. If Rapha wants to go in for a rail angle now, going for the kill, he can. Or if he wants to slow things down, which he very well could do with 40 seconds left on the clock, he could do it too, but he's going in with the all-or-nothing play.
Oh, yeah.
Great choice to make. He knows the stack Cypher's looking at. He's going to surprise him with the piercing sight. Easy kill, round one for Rapha.
Yep. Popped the ability and saw, oh, it's a gift. You drop down into a wall. I love this. This is fantastic. And we'll take that easy frag and go up 1-0.
Christmas isn't until a few weeks, mate.
Christmas comes early sometimes.
It does indeed. Now, BJ versus Rangers happening again. Cypher wasn't really able to get anything happening with BJ, and I think a big part of actually did kind of come down to the spawn. 2 times in a row now, Rapha has spawned near the equipment that Cypher wants as BJ.
Just eating a lot of tribal in the back as Cypher was trying to walk around that corner into the LG. He's going to get caught out. Was it worth it? Goes up the jump pad. The rocket is phenomenal. It knocks Rapha all the way off the map.
What even happened? It's like the wind grabbed him and pulled him out of the map.
It was an absolute whirlwind, and I'm sure Rapha is a whirlwind of emotion right now. He's got to be frustrated, but keeping his head in the game here.
By all accounts, Cypher should be dead. What happened?
I don't even know.
That was amazing.
Something about an airbender. I'm not really sure, but
like, you know that movie where they bend the bullet?
Yeah.
They just bent Rapha in the middle of it. My God. Anyway, moving on swiftly. The bonus here is that Cypher now actually has the weapons that he needs. It was a perfect read from Rapha. He baited Cypher to feel comfortable to take the LG. That's why the fight was in his favor. It was just that shock turn events where Cypher just landed the magic rocket that unfortunately forced Rapha into an early grave. But that's not Cypher's problem. He's now in a great position.
Yeah, he loves it. Wisely not going through that TP here as Rapha shot the warning rail. Said, I know where you are. Both items will come up shortly in about 14 seconds, so players just jockeying for position here. A little bit of LG tickle, forcing Rapha into that T-Con. The follow-up rail is phenomenal, too. Rapha not looking so healthy here. He's going to make the jump over. A little more LG tickle. Swap to rail will miss from Cypher. Rapha desperately trying to fight for this Mega. He will win it out, and he will trap Cypher. Dual wield comes out, a little bit of that delay. He's trying to... Oh, wow. Compensates perfectly, strafes back out, nails that rail that he needs, and Cypher's looking very strong here as he stacks back up.
It was a perfect weapon combination too. Absolutely flawless weapon combination, especially seeing as Rapha, he kind of made the right call to go in there, understanding that if he doubles back and gets Mega, the time it takes Cypher to grab the heavy means by the time Rapha's there, Cypher's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. It was just pure combat skill. Speaking of which, BJ taking 3 champions in a row, and after a very disastrous start, Rapha is going to lose the round ultimately.
Yeah, that was a very strong showing from Cypher there.
I have no doubt that some of you lovely people at home clipped that, and I'm going to watch it back.
Oh yeah, over and over and over. Here comes the quick fight out. Cypher gets the heavy. Nail comes out from Rapha, not really landing the damage. Does get to the rockets first now as he's raining them down upon Cypher. Good rocket there from the spawn. He's going to chase with the Dire Orb and Machine Gun too. But now Cypher has an LG, but he's stuck. Both players very weak. Rapha decides to back off after that early pressure.
Should be plenty of help around, but Cypher making the wonderful call to go in with the dual wheel. But that's kind of the nerf we talked about, right? Where there's a lot more startup. You can't really shoot as fast as you could before. So Cypher having to kind of make that hard call of when to go in. Unfortunately, the dual wheel accomplished basically nothing, and now he is on death's door. Does Rapha get it? He was looking for the angle. Second-guessed himself. Went in for the heavy instead. Chose to stack rather than leave himself open. I respect it. I respect it.
Cypher hitting the rail when he needs to. They're barely missing 2 of them. That would have netted him at the frag, but Rapha stacking back up, and here's the sound cue. Cypher knows he's going to back off. Doesn't like that angle.
Always a game of chicken, I think, when it comes to the pickups that are so close together. Cypher understanding that the damage he does to himself to try and get away with far shorter than the damage to take from Rapha springing a trap, but Rapha chasing him down anyway. No fear! Very weak indeed, but he gets the Mega, at least. And as they disengage now, Cypher's kind of the one in the weird position. He needs some armor desperately.
Does get the 50, but Rapha knows and reads it well. The tri-bolt damage is going to be good. Cypher forced through the TP. Goes right back into the LG room, trying to slow things down here. Again, no armor to his name. Rapha trying to snuff him out and say, hey, you want to hang out for a little bit? Let's play.
Just want to talk to you.
I just need to talk to you for a second.
I would like to discuss the tier list for Quake Champion.
As Rapha will get the heavy and make his way back, or excuse me, Mega 2 heavy. Full control now, adding a little bit of delay.
Look at how long Cypher has been without armor. Speaking of which, my man's going to get out of there. Very weak. 50 health, still raidable at this health.
And no rockets either.
Yeah, he's going to look for that shot, I think. He's going to look for that money shot. I love the patience from Cypher. Has not left it, but unfortunately forcing the dual wield. And I think this is when Rapha's probably going to go in for the kill.
Yeah, good job baiting that out. Cypher used it just to survive. Again, no armor. Looking real low on the stack here. Rapha just trying to find him.
Looks like Cypher has really been unable to find his footing completely. Nowhere near any of the important pickups either, which means Rapha has been in control for so long. He's just picked up the heavy as well, so he has a chunky stack to his name. So when he finally decides he wants to take a fight, there's no way Cypher's going to be able to outstack him. So he's trying to sort of bide this time, get the dual wield back. Rapha finally can. Oh, this might be the time he goes in. There's no way he's going to let him live on this one, surely.
There it is, catches him out, and a little bit of the Dire Orb action there just for a little insurance, and finally Rapha nets that frag. Cypher did a really good job of making him work real hard for it, though.
Yeah, it did. The issue is that because he was so stacked, he was minimal damage in return before Rapha ultimately got the frag, and it wasted a lot of time. So now there's, you know, less than 2 minutes left on the clock, and Rapha can sort of play the defensive game if he wants to. Does mix things up with Ranger though now. The ability cooldown is, you know, universal. Dire Orb is not as free as it once was.
Oh, but he's gonna get caught out, and Rapha's not gonna turn the corner. He's like, I'll just go get the heavy, that's fine, as Cypher tries to shoot a cheeky rocket through that drive-through window there. The stack phenomenal from Rapha here. Just needs to be careful not to get pushed off the map.
The thing is, we've seen it happen so many times. It's a genuine thing you have to worry about on Awoken. It's the biggest ring-out map in the game for a reason. And he goes in with the Mega. Cypher is able to collect the Mega anyway. Rapha putting himself in a slightly unfavorable position, but I think Cypher was not interested in the fight. He just wants to get out, take the stack for what it is, try and fight later. Timer's not going to be on his side though. Teleports all the heavy, steals it as well, but puts himself in a horrendous position. Rapha is able to get another frag. I respect the attempt from Cypher though. Like the steal, if he was able to get the fight and the steal, Rapha is instantly behind.
Yeah, that was just a really risky Dire Orb. Did not work out. Backed himself into a corner here, and now Rapha looking really strong to take this third round. Fantastic rockets. Ooh, that defensive rocket just enough to keep him out for the time being here. He will miss out on the heavy, it looks like. Is Cypher going to dare and challenge this?
Unfortunately, the timer is not Cypher's friend, as now 10 seconds away, 2 champions left to kill. That's match point Rapha right there. There is no way on this earth Cypher is winning this round, and we're going to be moving on.
Yeah, that rail pretty much sealed it. He was like, you shall not pass. And a 2-1, Rapha is on the edge of taking this series rather convincingly.
And to be completely honest, I kind of, with what we've seen in tournaments previously, even though we've never seen Cypher and Rapha go sort of really head-to-head in tournament for Quake Champions, the recent results don't lie. I think there's, with these two players in particular, there's a reason we've seen Rapha at the absolute, you know, top of the pyramid, and Cypher's been, as of recently, kind of struggling to reach that level. And it's the fact that they've finally gone head-to-head and Rapha is winning pretty convincingly. Like, I can't say I'm surprised here. Yeah. I'm not speaking too soon, though. By all means, Cypher could bring this one back. Like, he is a legendary player, but Rapha has the results to back it up in this game.
Yeah, still not over, but you can't help but wonder. The push in from Cypher is going to cost him 1 rail to the face. Dire Orb comes out.
And Rapha just using it as an opportunity to understand that Cypher's nowhere near Mega, so let's just try and take it, undo some of the damage. He's now got phenomenal, he's got every weapon. He's got that Holy Trinity on deck, which is all he needs. What he's lacking is a Dire Orb, though. Cypher's going to have that trump card on him for now.
Grabbing a little bit of trouble and playing slow. A T-Con is so important for all of the sound cues in the map. A little bit of LG into Tribolt. The rail, fantastic from Cypher as he fades away. Mega will be up shortly, but it looks like Rapha's trying to get some damage in on that heavy. Will miss on the Tootsie rail. Almost clipped his toe there. Again, Rapha just setting this trap, holding that T-Con. Initial rocket will net him the information. Oh, that was real dangerous there as the rail almost pushes him off the map again.
Very specifically moving himself in the way of the pillar, saying, no, not again.
Not like this.
I've had enough of that. But to be honest, that was how Cypher kind of bagged his round previously. You know, a turn of good events, and Rapha able to undo the damage a little bit this time, but he's kind of had that advantage on Cypher so far. You know, when they're both kind of playing that slow-paced game, trying to get some information, Rapha tends to be the one that's springing a little bit more traps. That said, caught in a bad spot. Wonderful rail from Cypher. Plenty more work that needs doing, Rapha. Not railable anymore! Oh. I think if that rail landed, he probably would have got ring out too.
Yeah.
He was in line for it.
That would be heartbreaking right now.
Not again. Oh, here we go again. Don't make a splash. He's making splashes.
So many splashes, just playing in the puddle there. Rapha hears it, playing really slow. And that rocket will not net him any damage, but he will eat a rail. Dire Orb comes out. Great play with the rockets. Is this going to net him a frag? 14 HP, and he gets away with it. Rapha very fortunate there. Cypher with a great rail, though, to keep him low in the banana area.
I will never get tired of seeing that rail angle. Never.
I will never hit that rail angle.
That makes 2 of us.
Yeah. Cypher missing that one. Dire Orb towards the telly and traps him. Well played there. Cypher netting that. Very, very well done with that Dire Orb. Cutting him off and saying, yeah, you're going to be stuck up against the wall. Sorry.
I'm curious if Rapha can refrag this. It depends entirely on his spawn. There's plenty of resources around to try and get it back up. And he's, no doubt, he's probably popped the piercing sight. He's gone in with the LG just in case. But Yeah, not quite. Oh my god.
Very, very close there. Rocket whizzing by Cypher's face. 2 minutes left, has the champ advantage. Looking to make it 2 champs here as he grabs that 50. He makes his way back towards the banana. Initial rail is good. He'll fade away into the distance here. Not afraid to just play defensive and say, okay, you have to come to me, and you have to make it work here as they play the corner game. Good rocket from Cypher there, jumping over and avoiding most of the damage. Oh!
Wow. Again? He's gonna look for it again, I think. Spiral, great stuff. Gets the angle he was looking for. That should be an easy rail. Ooh, the defensive one comes out, but doesn't matter. The important thing is that Cypher wasn't able to land that rail, so Rapha's keeping a full mega. And now all the armor that comes with it, he's straight back in the fight.
I just feel like anytime Cypher hits a rail, I'm just worried that Rapha's gonna go flying off the map now.
Yeah, it's happened enough time. But that said, it's a complete change of events. It's a complete turn on its head. Cypher now with the champion advantage. The 1 minute warning has appeared. And
what a rail.
Yeah, significantly harder now. Cypher gets a fantastic shot there. The mega health is going to be his reward. And now Galena versus 2 entire champions to make a comeback in 45 seconds is a pretty tall order, to be honest. This should be even Stevens.
Rapha trying to push, will miss that opening rail. Cypher moves towards the T-Con. Time ticking away here. Good LG, but 30 seconds left, and Cypher's just gonna back away. Try and take that rail. He will take the rail, but not the way he wanted. Right in the face. 92 damage. Here comes the push from Rapha. The defensive rocket's fantastic to keep him out. Not willing to commit yet. 20 seconds. He's got to make something happen. There's one. Can Rapha get the second here as he makes his way towards the T-Con? 15 seconds. Will grab the mega, and now he just needs to go on the hunt. Can't afford to waste any more time here.
Looks like Cypher was delaying his spawn a little bit, actually, by those things, and very, very intelligent to delay his spawn as long as possible. Now the BJ has spawned.
And this is it. Unfortunate here. Rapha can't catch him. Cypher plays it perfectly, and we're tied at 2.
Just like that, one more round, and it's going to be Cypher on his last lifeline on Awoken, but he's fighting back for it. Absolutely, Rapha just needs this round, and he's going to move on and really give us an impressive result against another legendary player, right? This is the match that so many players have been waiting for so long. It's finally here.
Yeah, and Cypher's not willing to lay down and die. He wants to put on a show here, trying to take this last one, steal this map, go into the third. Rapha, of course, doesn't want that to happen. Waiting for the TP play. Here's the jump pad here. Good opening rail, punishes for the rockets here. He gets LG of his own.
And we're definitely, again, we're kind of gone back for that who's going to make the first move kind of play. Rapha has got the jump on Cypher. Dire Orb use, just try and take that heavy and get out through the teleport to safety.
Wow.
Wonderful time, but
wow.
Oh my god, the rocket and rail combo was disgusting.
Yeah, he hit him with the number 3 from KFC, and Cypher just, there's nothing you could do. That initial donk into rail, what are you going to do? It completely stops your momentum. Rapha lined it up perfectly and got that frag a minute in. Looking for more rails here, as Rapha's hungry.
If Rapha wants to press the advantage, by all means he can. He got one of those nails, which is going to be valuable data. Took one rail, but he can still tank a fair few more, especially now he's got that light armor. And these two guys just hitting that rail angle like it's the easiest thing in the world. Come on.
Great Dire Orb there through the drive-through window. Leaves the mega up. He knows he could push advantage. Doesn't go quite around the corner, but does add a nice little delay to the item. So a good 10-second split. Rapha going to push this advantage. Good rocket. Cypher gets around the corner. Is Rapha going to push?
I mean, if Rapha maintains this stack and keeps Cypher behind, it's going to be dangerous now for Cypher to challenge either of these main pickups. Rapha could theoretically keep heavy and mega for the rest of this round if he plays his cards right.
Oh, I thought that was going to hit.
There's one going in for number 2 here. Has more stack than Cypher, even with that rocket. Cypher can retreat back to his totem if he needs to, and there it is. What a
wow.
No, the turnaround rail. Rapha landing the money shot.
Yeah, he do or die quite literally, and he hits it. 2 champ advantage. He's going to catch out Cypher over here by the drive-through window, switches to rail, but he doesn't have any slugs. And 100 HP. Cypher will live to see another day. And can he turn this around? 3 minutes left, plenty of time, and that is so unfortunate for Rapha.
That was the clip heard all across the Dreamhack halls. Oh my word. I hope that he does not live to regret that one missing rail that he didn't have. Cypher has time, but I mean, let's not forget, this is a comeback and a half. He has a lot of work to do, but that's a lifeline right there. Cypher's going in. The rail, but still alive. At the end of the day, right now, I'm just going to look at the fact that he's still alive as a win.
Oh, absolutely. By all accounts, he should be dead. A bit of ammo mismanagement there. Lets him off the hook. As Cypher comes around the corner, eats a lot of nail damage. Needs to be careful. Good rail there, but still advancing forward. Wow. Great return rail.
Wow. My God, it is so rare that you see Rapha run out of ammo as well. Like, there really is no one better in the scene at.
And there's the push.
Oh, wow. My God. Still alive somehow.
As well.
Oh, God. This was a difficult position to be in, Cypher. Watch out. Oh, my God.
10 HP on Rapha. Stuck by the heavy now. Cypher trying to go through the jumping rail.
Can he do this? Can Cypher make this comeback happen? I mean, Rapha, he has lots of armor, but not much HP at all. Watch out for those rockets. That's data that you don't want to give him. Dodging those rockets like it's easy. This is an obstacle course for him, and he's happy to take it.
Cypher's got to be so frustrated. Rapha hanging on by a thread by the skin of his teeth here. He's actually going to be able to stack back up, and Cypher has to shrug that off. A minute and 10 seconds left. He has to focus here. He can't let that get to him. As Rapha doing a good job, he's going to have sight back shortly, and that's going to aid him immensely in playing defensive here. The rail will miss from Cypher. Mega is at his back. He pops dual wield for a little bit of insurance here on the T-Con, pushing Rapha back. But time is ticking as Rapha pushes with the LG, gets a little bit of damage to try and melt some of that Mega away.
Getting caught swapping weapons too, so damage Cypher cannot return. Rapha back in control, and as we've gone long into the 1 minute warning, it's back for Rapha in the driver's seat. That was such an insane exchange, and it's mad that Cypher's even still alive to tell the tale, but he needs to make a miracle happen 2 times in a row. If he can do this, this is going to be legendary.
30 seconds now. He goes up the jump pad. Is he going to make the jump over? He doesn't really have a choice. Hits a great rail. Is he going to hit the follow-up? He misses. 20 seconds. Needs to push the issue here.
Rapha has the piercing sight. He's got that one final lifeline. You can see exactly where Cypher's going, which means the ambush is not possible.
10 seconds. Pops dual wield. This is his last chance here. Has to push through the banana. Will miss with the rail. 5 seconds left, and it looks like Rapha has done it. And that is gonna be it.
Just like that line. Just like that, it's gonna be Rapha taking it over Cypher. It felt like there could have been a miracle comeback made at the last second, but it was just that final moment where Rapha just refused to die. If Cypher goes back and watches these tapes, he is gonna be devastated at how often Rapha had no health remaining.
I want to say 5 HP, and he just kept going for the Cypher, kept going for those rails, and you got to imagine if he just switched to machine gun and tried to pepper that in, it would be a different world. But you could also say the same about Rapha. He had that last rail slug. That would have been over a long time before what we just saw, but that was an intense situation near the end. Rapha plays defensive, survives, pulls it off, and advances.
Well, many of you guys and girls at home have been wanting to see this match happen, and it finally did. Hopefully, it delivered. In my opinion, it definitely did. You know, we kind of got to see just how calculated the two players are when they go head-to-head, because at this point, they've played so many times, it's no longer about Quake champions. It's about, you know, it is the mind of one player versus the mind of another.
Yeah, absolutely. No strangers to each other. And like we saw so many times, tracking each other through the wall, hitting direct rockets. Analysts, what did you make of what we just saw?
What we just saw was some very high-level Quake.
Jeez, I cannot believe that this is just day one, and we just saw that match.
Yeah, man. You know, one of the things, just to kind of jump right into, just to kind of jump right into what I was seeing out there. To give an example on Veil of Nath, just to kind of paint a picture here about the mind games that are going on. Rapha had got a kill. Cypher respawns with Ranger. Heavy armor's about to be up. Rapha had the high position. But he knew Ranger was up, so he's like, I don't want to just jump on the armor right away as it spawns because he's going to dire orb me and maybe come in with some rockets and that kind of thing. And on the other hand, Cypher is on the bottom roaching around. He's like, this doesn't feel right. I know. So he's being quiet. He's like, he knew Rapha was around. And like, Rapha's not just going to leave a heavy up for you, right? So he came in and dire orbed to steal it quick. Rapha didn't jump on it. He knew, oh, he's going to come, and he railed him. And it was just like that cat and mouse. They were both thinking, and it's just interesting to watch those mind games.
Yeah, it has been a little while since they've gone head-to-head, but you can see that there's a lot of residual memories of matches past, even in other games, just about, you know, how they operate, how they think. And even on Awoken there, we just saw, you know, just like 40 Lions was saying, just tracking through the walls every single time, sometimes at the detriment of counting shots.
Yeah. We saw a few of those players running out of ammo and then not really realizing it. I still remember Cypher on Awoken. He had one rocket left and he walks right on past the rockets. And I was sitting there like, no, it's going to bite you. And
I bet you're wondering, did I fire 5 rockets or 6?
Do you feel lucky?
Cypher got incredibly lucky there. And that was almost enough to turn it around. But there was that last moment where he was at top T in Awoken, heard the jump pad from Rapha, and actually he had to cut off the route so that Rapha didn't really have a clear idea that Cypher would be up there. And Cypher goes, there's 13 seconds left on the clock, beer it back, let me go get some armor real quick. Just hang out right there, right? And he just ran out of time.
And then he turned the corner right into a rocket, sending him up into the air, and then that was basically it.
And you know that armor pickup is gonna reveal where he is. I think Cypher actually had the drop on Rapha when Rapha came up that jump pad. The opportunity was there.
Probably, yeah. And he had his dual wield ready too. If he had popped that right away and just turned the corner without going for the armor, I think he could have taken Rapha right then and there.
But maybe.
Yeah, there's no telling.
Yeah,
no telling.
All I know is I saw what happened, and it didn't happen for him.
It did not happen, but we got an abundance of sick play though. And one that I will definitely remember was on Veil of Nav, Cypher his rails. You could see Rapha's reaction afterwards, throwing his hands into the sky because it was just Cypher hitting once, and then he goes through the teleporter twice, and then a third time just in a
when you can make Rapha react like that, you know you're doing something right.
Absolutely.
Let's take a quick look at these frags. Maybe that one's up there as well, and I would certainly not mind seeing that one again.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I would have thrown up my hands too. I didn't blame. I was like, what? I think I threw up my hands in the crowd. I was like, what was that? Like, geez. Oh, this is...
Yeah, and the Death Knight play, we saw some really good usage, and that LG was absolutely phenomenal. But it was predicated on the Flame Strike for the tracking information. And of course, Rapha up here coming back through the banana. And yeah, these traps have just been so phenomenal. All the tracking with the LG, and then things kind of go south on you sometimes.
It looked good at the start. It did. Yeah, it looked good.
Not sure if this was the very end. Oh, no, this was, just the 4D chess play. You just know that one's going to happen. Just nice and clean and beautiful. And just as clean as beautiful, we've got Rapha here, right here. How you doing, dude?
Thank you.
So, day 1, does it feel like day 3 already?
Dude, I think the last time we played in bracket play was Dreamhack Winter 2013 in the grand finals.
Wow.
So it brought back a lot of special memories to play.
Some of our players aren't that old.
Wenger, he's a little young. But seriously, it's been a long time since Alex and I have played, and that was really, really fun. And I know we both pushed each other to our limits on like outsmarting each other constantly and always having to adapt on the fly and try to be as quick as possible. I think that the rounds that you saw where we won was the guy who managed to obtain position quickly via like rocket jumps or just get the read on the timing a bit better and knew that he could push aggressively. And thankfully I managed to come out on top and qualify for the playoffs. But if we meet again, it's going to be just as close.
I thought it was just a great like showcase of the mind games that can go on a duel. I just saw you both reacting like almost like you can see. I know you can't, but we have the benefit of X-ray, but I always find it fun because I can see the other person. I just see you guys playing off of the sound cues, off of just player intuition. I noticed, like I mentioned earlier on NAP, how you guys you just killed him, you respawned with Ranger, and you knew, I'm not just gonna jump on the armor real quick with the Dire Orb. You knew he was working around. He knew you were up top, and it was just watching you guys go back and forth. It really was a treat.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing on there was I don't know if he's played against Death Knight much with like how Death Knight plays now with the tick damage, as well as he decided to go with Clutch, which is right now you have to be really confident in your play with Clutch because the time duration of shield being down is quite a bit, and it was really interesting to try to play that matchup right now, especially with how good his rockets are. So I knew
like feel like at about the round 2 point there, he was feeling like Clutch might have not been the thing to do. It was kind of hesitant.
Well, as soon as I would get away and stay alive, I would try to position to block him from vials so that by the time he gets shield back on that, because you can only really go get vials over by railgun on Veil, and by the time that he'd get shield back, I would have enough of a stack that it doesn't matter anymore. It's like, well, your round 2 of shield is pretty much useless. As soon as you shoot, I'm going to make you like 10 health, and then what are you going to do? So you really have to play with Clutch right now, you have to be super sure of your engagement, and then you actually have to like play a little tricky with Railgun, I think. But you can, because they scaled down his model, actually.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's smaller in the air when you're dashing. So if you set up good shots and dash away, it's hard to actually trade back. But it didn't work out for him. It'll be interesting to see if he decides to keep playing it on Veil or if he goes with something else.
Talking about the map or the champion picks on map 1, you did go with the Death Knight. Is there any particular reason you chose that champion? Because I think it's one of the first DKs that we've seen today.
I like DK on Veil because health is so spread out, and right now to cleanse the burn damage, you could take up to 100 burn damage, so 10 ticks of 10. If you don't collect any sort of health. Like, you have to collect a health bubble. So it does one of two things. If we just had a fight over health and I know there's none and I make you burn, you know, like I put the dot on him, then he has to be super predictable in where he goes, or it's a countdown timer to your death, like tick, tick, and you just feel the pressure. So it can either make people more predictable in their dodging in fights, or just like where they have to go on the map, and then I can get control that way. Obviously you have to land the flame strike, and I think sometimes, like, you know, when you converge it and try to hit like all 3 25s, if you hit at the end, it doesn't apply the tick. So you have to make that choice whether you want to burst damage them for 75 or lay it past them and hopefully over time deal more damage and play around it that way. And so you just, you have to adapt to what you need.
Right. Which meant that in the end there, you didn't even have to have your eyes open for that LG. That's pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, I still had to hit. But
exactly where he was, yeah.
But yeah.
Was there anything particularly surprising about the way Cypher was kind of playing out Veil or Awoken?
Yeah, I really liked some of the rail angles he took at certain times, like looking through the portal. It was like at very unexpected points, but he made good reads that I would be over by LG to go get the armor or the health. And so I might put that into my own game, you know, try to look back at that and, you know, get a feel for it. And because he really turned pressure around on Awoken via those rails sometimes where, you know, if he doesn't get that rail angle, doesn't go for it, I'm going to reposition and, you know, take the next mega and then keep applying pressure. But it can make or break that map sometimes, I think, in terms of putting somebody on the back foot.
Jeez, well, it's been a really long day for you, Rapha. It's gonna, and this is still, again, just the first of many. So we're going to let you get some rest here pretty soon. And we're going to be taking a look at the brackets here as we look forward to tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of duel, a lot of 2v2. And, of course, we've got most of our players qualified. Some of these games will be wrapping up between tonight and tomorrow morning. And Rapha will be going up against Agent next up. Oh, these are qualified. Okay, so we've got Rapha in, Agent in, Claus is in. We're looking for either Avik or Toxic, which will be a hell of a match, I'm sure.
Sit and watch it before I head back to the hotel. So, I mean, every time that they've met, it's been a nail biter. They both like to be aggressive in different ways. And it's all, I think when Avik's in top shape, it's always really fun to watch him play because he really tries to open up the game and create unique situations. And then everybody knows about Tox, man, that robotic Terminator aim.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And because it is double limit, we also get to take a quick look at the lower bracket where we've got a few of these slots to open up for qualifiers. Kilson's in the running for it, Cypher's in the running for it, of course, the Hang's still in there. But as you can see, there's a bit of a backlog there.
Is that Razy again in Cypher's bracket? Is this real life?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They've got a history at this point.
I don't know who I feel more sorry for.
Who'd be cooler?
Ooh.
I don't know.
Oh, well, let me consult the brackets.
Wow, they are right here.
I didn't hear about that at all. So if he is
Agent, actually.
Wow.
Or Agent.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Agent got the 2-0. That's impressive. So
that is actually.
Yeah. Cooler's dual shape the week leading up to looked really good. So I'm very surprised that he's knocked down to the lower bracket, but he's still got a chance.
Yeah, and he and Base have been playing really well together as well today. In fact, we can take a quick look at the 2v2 bracket, which is now ready to go for tomorrow. These are our playoffs. Going to be just, last chance for everybody as single limb. We got Summer Fight versus Last Chance up first, AMD, and the Vengabust, a favorite name of mine. Actually, probably my favorite team name throughout the entire event. Namiga and Maestro EU, Team Liquid versus Maestro CIS. So how are you feeling about that one, Rapha?
I mean, anytime you got to play Claus, you got to be on your A game. And I think Zran fits despite them losing to Cyberfight today, I think Cyberfight played above and beyond their level. They just pulled it out in the clutch. I think Zran is a better teammate style with Claus. He does a better job, I think, because Claus, he just wants to go, go, go. So I think Zran does a better job of communicating and trying to play around that in positioning and aggression and like how he moves. And that's kind of like what I stated earlier today. I think a lot of the European switches since QuakeCon, they just fit each other's play styles more, whether it's playing more defensive or more aggressive. They're in more cohesion, I think. And yeah, I think a lot of the teams really stepped up their skill level, and it's going to be really hard tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's going to be a little bit of well-deserved rest before we get there. We will be saying good night for the evening, and from the sound of it, the rest of the hall is like booked out as well. Like things are really echoing and reverberating. Like for the first time tonight, there's no like bass going on around us.
It's because the Quake event's over. They're like, okay, we're done.
Yeah. But it's going to be bright and early. I think it's going to be the same bat time, same bat place for some 2v2 action. And a big shout out to Monster and Corsair. But we've just started DreamHack Winter 2018. We've got 2 more days to go, and we're all going to survive to the end of it, probably.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope.
So from all of us up here at the caster's desk and out there in the crowd, we'll be seeing you tomorrow morning. Catch you on the flip side.